Hello everyone, welcome to another Devstream of SunnySide, where we go over the latest stuff that happened in the last 2 weeks of development and the progression of the growth of my hair. Glad you're all here, and last 2 weeks have been pretty busy, so I have a bunch of stuff to show you guys. Lots of writing, lots of art assets, lots of programming in general. I'm just gonna go right to it. First of all, Fem and myself, but mostly Fem, is very excited to announce that we now have a TikTok account. So we decided, hey, if people like to look at SunnySide on TikTok, we might as well handle it on our own. So now we have a TikTok page. So if you do have TikTok, if you're one of the cool kids, just search up RainyGames UK on TikTok and just give us a follow over there. Yeah, so after the TikTok, we had this brilliant idea, probably the best idea of all time in the whole development, to change our logo colors to the platform that we're on. I know. It was actually Austin's idea. Yeah, you guys might see our logos change on the different social media and stuff. Don't be surprised, it's not like a fake account or anything. We're just changing the colors based on the platform it's on. This one's for Discord, and we have one for Instagram. Instagram's a weird one because it has such weird colors, but we just stuck with the purpley pink. That one's, yep. TikTok should the whole TikTok thing going on, so there is. And we have one for Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. One more news before we go into the game is that we had an interview with a news website called the Zealot News, and they had an interview with us that took almost 2 hours, basically, like a podcast style interview. And there's a podcast video that's going up soon, and there's going to be an article that will follow it. We talked about SunnySide a lot, but just in general, the gaming industry and the indie dev scene and everything. So do give that a listen when it's out. It's going to be a good one. Right, now to the fun part, which is game. So lore stuff. I'm happy to tell you guys that we have written all of the characters. So all of the characters are done in terms of personality and their development and whatnot. The character sheets are written. This is mainly because we're putting together a very comprehensive GD, stands for Game Design Document, to then provide to people who are interested in SunnySide. And for that, we wanted to have all of the character sheets ready. On top of that, our citizen members of Kickstarter are basically working with them to write their characters as well. Most of them are also done. And again, to assure everybody else, this is not just basically, how do I put it? We haven't injected these characters into the game like it happens with many other Kickstarters, kind of like forcing, I should be on my face, kind of like forcing the these characters into the lore while it wouldn't make any sense. So we're, although citizens have the ability to design the character and how they're gonna be, we still take the liberty of writing them in a way that it would make sense within the story and lore of SunnySide and every other NPC. So, on top of that, the whole general world building and the story and lore of SunnySide, not in terms of the characters, but the world of SunnySide, is also been written mostly. We have finally figured out what we want the monsters of the game to be. We have a really comprehensive story for the main lore of it. There's a lot of history behind it. There is so much nuances and stories for people who really want to research it. I myself am the type of person that would research into Skyrim's lore or read Skyrim books, and I felt really rewarded when I figured out why certain things were the way they were in the game by just reading about it. So I want the same thing to come through to SunnySide. We want you to, if you really delve into the history of SunnySide, we want you to feel like rewarded for doing so. So we're giving it a lot of history. Another thing to mention is that Fem just told me, is that Kitty on the Discord, which is one of our writers, probably I can say lead writer at this point, she did like 3 days worth of research into Shintoism and Japanese lore and everything, because we're not just adding these the lore of SunnySide into the game, we're making sure that it works well with the setting of the game, which is Japan. So the monsters, quote unquote, again, monsters of the game, they're all inspired by Japanese folklore, Shintoism, and just the spirits and stuff. So although they're robots, so to speak, you will be able to see the resemblance that they have with those legends into the Japanese folklore. So yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to see those designs and just the stories behind them, everything. But there's a lot there to discover. Another thing is that caves have been conceptualized. We don't want the caves or the mines to just feel like a field for you to just mine through, right? But we wanted it to have a lot more lore behind it rather than just being somewhere that you can find resources or fight in. So that's why we are designing almost every level just to give them more of a lore. So if you see a writing on the wall, if you see something on the wall, it will have a reason behind it. These are the nuances that a procedural system might be able to do, but always not as well as a human can do. We want to just basically keep the caves exciting and want you to go down them. Because playing Stardew Valley, huge fan as always, but usually I just want to go down as quick as possible, so I just want to find those ladders to then just go down to the next level. We don't want this to be the case. We want you to actually look around for the reasons that you're just curious. Now to the engine we go. Yeah, so the main reason you would have to hold right click to move the camera was because we wanted to give you a free cursor that you can move around the map. And again, the main reason behind that was that you can click on items to use them. The problem with that, although on PC it's a common practice for games that are PC only, SunnySide is definitely not a PC only game, and we also want the game to have controller support. So instead of that, now you just have a free camera that you can move with your mouse, and then when you get close to objects that are interactable, then you will get like a little prompt that will tell you what key to press and what will happen if you press that key. So yeah, like if I just grab this, press E, grab it, I can then go around. I still use a left click to shoot the water, and I use right click to go into this aim mode. But in general, to pick it up, it's the E. Another tiny thing to add to this is that now you can adjust your camera zoom quite smoothly. And if you go into aim mode, depending on what your zoom level is, it will always go back to your zoom level after you're done. So if you're zoomed in like this, you go into aim mode and you go back, it'll move back like that. Another tiny thing is that the toolbar, we were thinking about changing this, but then we decided that a toolbar like this, a radial menu like this, is a very good type of menu because it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of implementing stuff, but at the same time it's very familiar and easy to use. But now the difference is that because you don't have a cursor always on your screen, it'll always spawn on your backpack. In fact, that's why there's a cube on your backpack. I need to hide that. That's where it'll be spawned. So another thing that I would love to show you guys is that we have added a lot of new forage items. So foraging was a thing that was in SunnySide to begin with. It was kind of been pushed aside after we started working on the game after the Kickstarter, but now we're back onto it. The very first item that we had for the forage was a mushroom. So it is still there in the game. This is a placeholder mushroom model, so it's really huge and it's not very nice looking, but this is how the forage items would look. You just basically go close to them, you press E and you pick them up. You get a little prompt for them as well. And you might be able to tell, just standing here, the game looks a lot more luscious. The game looks a lot more full of just nature in general, because now there's a lot more items that spawn and there's many different types of trees that will spawn. And just these mushrooms also add a lot to it. The foraging doesn't end at the mushrooms, so there are more items for you to pick up, especially in the sand area. So one of the things you can pick up are these sand piles. So if you pick them up, you get a sand bucket, which then you can use the sand to make different things, mainly glass. Another item you can pick up is this. So this we call the item junk in general, and what it can give you is a mix of things. You can either get, if I go into the inventory actually, you can get either recyclable plastic from it, or you can get scrap metal, or you can get both of them, and as random amounts you get each time. So basically we want the recycling and just you going and grabbing rubbish and making great things from them to be a part of the game and the whole gameplay mechanic, and that this is how we're implementing it. So when you go around, you can pick these junks. So there's another one there, there's another one here, and then once you're done picking up all these items, let's just put the backpack again. Once you're done picking these up, then what you can do is to take these to what is called the recycling machine, and the recycling machine can turn these into different items. So At the start of the game, the recycling machine is outside of your farm. It's actually at Hero's Tech Shop. You can go into it, you can place your item, your recyclable plastic inside it, or your scrap metal inside it, and it will output plastic pellets and just metal to you. And then you can use those to craft things. This is the recycle machine. We're still working on the design of it. Yeah, so there is basically a little monitor in the front, which you will then, when you use it, it will zoom onto it, and then you can basically deposit your items from your inventory, from your backpack onto it, and then you press the recycle button. It'll take some time for it to go through. Then from the collection section, you will get the item that comes out. Can be plastic pellets, can be metal stuff. You can then mod it. So you can get different types of plastic from it. So you can get yourself plastic filaments for your 3D printer, or you can get different types of metal, or if you even put items in there, you can get the basically the building blocks of those items. If you had something that was built on your farm, for example a solar panel, or if you had a water pump or something like that, and if you break it down, they will break down into these things. They won't ever break down into the pieces that you were built them from. You might get screws and stuff back, but you won't get like a circuitry back. They will all turn into scrap metal and recyclable plastic, which then you can use to just recycle and use more stuff from. So finally, the very first type of cooking in the game is implemented. You guys can see there is a tiny grill here. I believe these are called kettle grills for some reason. But yeah, this is the very first one that you get. There are different types of grills in the game. They do different things. They have different equipment that comes with them, or they have different capacities and whatnot. But if you press E, you can then start using it. And you have two slots up here, which then you can put the food items in. And then you have a slot down here for the fuel. You can also use this toggle to close the lid or not. As we mentioned before, we want to design specific UIs for different types of cooking. So grill being one, then there's another one for the oven, there's another one for the cutting board, there's going to be one for a stove that you can use, but this is the one for the grill. I can grab items, so we can just go ahead and put a potato there and another potato there. And then here's another thing we've implemented. It's just a tiny thing, but it's important in terms of the gameplay in general. But now you can split stacks, so if you click on it, the UI doesn't look great because I just put it together today, but yeah, so if I get, let's just get all of it, all 20 of it, then it will pick it from your inventory. You can place it in the fuel area, and it might be hard to notice, but the actual fuel is added underneath it, and we're ready to cook. I'm actually going to keep the lid open and press on start cooking, and then it will zoom you out, but you can zoom back onto it if you like, just to see how things are going. It's cooking. There's only 20 seconds left on each one of them. The coal is hot and burning. There's a little bit of heat distortion effect going on. In the actual game, we have a whole table of how long these will take to cook and stuff, and this will take 60 seconds to cook if I'm not wrong. There we go. Now we have finished cooking, grilled potato. Just put it in my inventory again, and I have grilled potato. There it is. Let's just hold it as celebration. So what I'm doing today is that I'm making it so that it will burn if you don't pick it up. But you can get yourself a grill, like a more expensive grill. You can build it actually as a kind of level up grill, which has more slots, more than just two, and it will also automatically turns itself off once the food is cooked, so that your food will never burn. Will it cook faster when the lid is down? That's it. Yeah, so currently, as Fem says, you will get different types of foods. So, for example, for the potato, if you keep the lid open, you just get grilled potato. But if you close the lid, you will get smoked potato. But it is also a very good point. I mean, I think we can also implement just a little bit of a different cooking time. Fem just says the times are already different on that table. Great. Yeah, here's your answer. I'm really glad to show you guys the grill. It's cooking has been really important to me in games, and it's good that we are working on a very comprehensive cooking system. Right, next thing to talk about are some more visual stuff. So as you guys know, vendors in the game, places like Gabriel's shop are really important, both in terms of gameplay and also to show the visuals of the game. So after Gabriel, we started working on Hero. This is the concept that we have for him. This is how his shop menu will look like. As Hero is a techie dude, he will have basically a tablet that you can use to browse into his items and then choose the ones you like, confirm your purchase. So that's why it's been reflected into the actual shop menu itself. So this is supposed to look like a tablet, and then in here you will have all the items that are available for sale. You can put them in your basket, and then you can confirm the purchase and buy it. As you can see, we also have a little shop silhouette. These shop silhouettes are going to be visible on all of the shops, all of the vendors in the game. But yeah, Retro Cats, I really like the different flavors of buy menus. That's the point, man. It's supposed to look different because there are different people in different shops, and just I hate universal shop menus that look the same for everybody. And this will give that, as you said, flavor. So as you guys saw last stream, we showed you guys a new character called Sako. She was the lady that was running the general store in the game, and we actually have her model in the game now. So this is Sako's model that is going to be in the game. To be honest, I think Alan's done a great job of replicating Kairi's great art. It looks very similar to Kairi's art. That's her lovely little flower on her chest, and then yeah, this is just her model. Genuinely, myself, I think out of all the models we have in the game, this is the one that looks the most like the concept art, and that's why we're planning to go back into some of the older models and kind of update them a little bit, work on them a little bit more to make them look more like the concept art. So as I mentioned, all the vendors in the game have this silhouette looking thing, and Sako, having a shop in the game, also has her own little silhouettes. These were the concepts for it, these were the ideas for it that we were going for, but we decided to go with this one because she's into origami, she likes making them, and that's why she's just holding a crane. She's had so many hobbies in her life, and so we wanted that to kind of be shown inside her portrait. So this is it, this is her portrait in the shop. So as it is tradition, it's time to reveal a new character in the game. He is actually one of Sako's friends. His name is Kazuki Ishikawa. And Kairi's done a great job coming up with concept art, and she's even done the actual portraits in the game for him as well. So here's your first look at Kazuki. Kazuki's the guy that runs the basically blacksmith in town. The thing is, he doesn't actively make swords and stuff anymore because nobody's actually looking after them, looking for them. He is a little bit of a sad man because he thinks his craft is getting obsolete. Just in general, he just thinks it's really out of date now, so to speak. But he loves to talk. he's a very kind gentleman, and he is in conflict with new technology and stuff because that's what he thinks is basically making him obsolete. So you might see a bit of conflict between him and Hero. Although he hates conflict, it might happen between them two. There might be a little bit of heat going on between them two. He will also help turning your metallic items, so he will help you with the smelting and stuff. We're actually talking about adding a smelter to your own farm if you would like to do that. If we do that, it will be a late game item, so that throughout the first year of the game at least, you would need to go to his shop so that he would smelt things for you. That's actually how it works in real life as well. So yeah, when you go to the mines, you take things that need smelting, you just take it to him, he'll do it for you. As I mentioned, we also have his portraits. These are his expression concepts, and this is... I'm gonna give you guys a second to look at that. And then this is his finished spring neutral look. What is he saying on his headband? What is he saying on his headband? So Fem is in the stream now. Go ahead.
So Kazuki's headband, we actually took there was a lot of debate over what it was going to look like. If it was going to be a towel, if it was going to be a full headscarf, if it was going to be, so this is an actual cool piece of Japanese history. It's called, I might butcher this, I apologize. I think it's called Hachimaki. I could be wrong, I didn't prep for this. But it's a headband that's often worn before anything that's going to take lots of endurance or something you might need extra strength for, as kind of a spiritually motivating thing. So his headband was actually gifted to him by his former master when he went to go take his blacksmith test, because blacksmithing in Japan is taken very seriously. And I think it's 5 years of training that they have to do. Thank you, Kitty. It says Shokunin Konju. It means spirit of true craftsman or craftsman's pride in his work, is what it says on the side. So I thought it'd be cool for you guys to know we put a lot of thought and effort into what was going on his head. It wasn't just lapped on there. So
Lovely,
yeah,
thank you. Thank you for that, comprehensive explanation on that. And thanks for asking the question. It's going to be an intense week because we're working on so many things. If I just read a few of the stuff that we're doing quickly to you guys, we will basically need to design the buildings for all of these vendors. So Gabe needs to have his own building, Hero will need to have his own building. We need to make the character creator. We need to implement the other phone apps like Farm Companion, Seed Catalog, so you can actually buy your seeds online. We need to add the NPC AI, so you can have the NPCs walking around and talking to you. We're going to be re-implementing the animals. We need to finish modeling some of the foods, some of the crops. The recycling machine that you saw also needs programming side of things. So that was just a few of the items, a few things that we need to do this coming week. But it's going to be a very intense week. But you know what? We're ready for it. We're ready to pump out this demo. And then once the demo is done for publishers, we're going to polish it a little bit more and then send it to a few streamers. And you guys will be able to tune in to some of those streamers and actually watch SunnySide being played by someone other than me. Before I close the stream, you might have noticed this is a different map. It's actually a completely new map that we've been working on. And if I slowly just zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, this is sort of what it looks like. Currently, it's an island, but SunnySide is not an island, it's a peninsula, so we are actually going to be connecting that side of the map to the mainland. But yeah, I think it's a pretty nice looking map. It's much nicer looking than the map we had before. It's a lot larger, it's a lot more SunnySide, just what we had in mind. That's everything. Thank you all so much for coming to this stream. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok with RainyGames UK. You can also donate on Coffee if you like to. And if you haven't bought the game or if you like to pre-order it, you can do so on our backer kit. Just go to RainyGames.co.uk. The link will be there for you. And lastly, make sure to join Discord. We show you guys everything we do as we do it, pretty much fresh out of the oven in Discord first. So that will be your best source of SunnySide stuff. That's everything for me. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I will catch you guys in the next stream. Bye.